Here are 8 NBA players who now can bounce back after the All-Star break. What's up guys, Nick Smith NBA back here. First off, I just want to quickly say that the video that I posted a couple of days ago on the Kobe Bryant story, apparently that didn't hit sub boxes, so if you haven't watched that video, it's the same one as the Michael Jordan, Kevin Garnett video on this channel, except it's 2 Kobe Bryant stories that you may have not heard. So if you want to go and check that and maybe you missed it in your sub box, feel free. With that said, this video is looking at the players who could bounce back after the All-Star break. As we know, the All-Star break was last week. And now that we have players heading into the second half of the season and looking to make an impact on their team, or if they're just looking to have a bounce back for the rest of the year. With that said, I hope you guys enjoy the video. If you enjoy these types of videos, please be sure to hit that like button to show your support. Let's aim for 1,000 likes for the next video. And if you're new around here and you enjoy NBA content every single week, hit that subscribe button for more. It takes 2 seconds of your time and it would be greatly appreciated. With that said, let's get on to the video. Number 8, Myles Turner. Myles Turner is a very interesting player because he was drafted by the Indiana Pacers expecting to be one of their big pieces for the future. Alongside Victor Oladipo, Myles Turner was the guy that they could build around. A little bit like DeAndre Ayton and Devin Booker in Phoenix, that was meant to be how the Indiana Pacers were looking to build. Except this season we've seen the emergence of Sabonis and we saw them get Malcolm Brogdon in this year's offseason, and they've had a pretty big role for the Indiana Pacers whilst Victor Oladipo was rehabbing. Now that their star player is back in Victor Oladipo, this Indiana Pacers team is looking to make a strong push in the playoffs. Except we have seen a guy like Myles Turner have a decline. Last season, Myles Turner averaged 13 points, 2.7 blocks, 7 rebounds on 38% from 3 and 48% from the field goal. But this season, Myles Turner is only averaging 11.5 points, 2 blocks, 6 rebounds, shooting 33% from 3 and 44% from the field. Keep in mind he is playing more minutes this season. Now I do know that Myles Turner is playing a different role for this year's Indiana Pacers team, and I would say that what he's doing offensively doesn't need to be improved. For what the Indiana Pacers have, he doesn't need to be a threat on the offensive end. But I think what's really important for this Indiana Pacers team is that Myles Turner improves defensively. Last season, Myles Turner averaged 2.7 blocks per game. I believe that Myles Turner should be able to average 2.7 blocks this season as well, but he just isn't playing as well defensively, and I think he needs to play better defensively after the All-Star break. He's definitely shown signs of this. Last game the Indiana Pacers played against the Charlotte Hornets, he had 8 blocks. And then he had a game against the Pelicans a few nights ago where he had 5 blocks, and then against the Dallas Mavericks when he had 3 blocks. His offensive numbers have been really poor during these games, but his defensive presence was very solid, and I think we can see an improvement on the defensive end from Myles Turner, considering he's 23 years old and one of the better defensive centers in the league once he gets his game going. And I think after this All-Star break, going into the playoffs, the Indiana Pacers will need him to play better defensively. At number 7, Eric Gordon. Eric Gordon has always played a very instrumental role for the Houston Rockets. He's a guy that was the 6th man of the year for this team, and he came off the bench and gave them a spark. This season more than ever, the Houston Rockets will need that. Eric Gordon has been a little bit questionable in the first half, mostly due to his injuries, and he hasn't been able to hit his rhythm. But with the Houston Rockets going small, Eric Gordon will be an instrumental part to this team going into the second half, coming off the bench. They're going to need a resurgence and they're going to need scoring, and that's what Eric Gordon does. But last season, Eric Gordon averaged 16 points, shooting 40% and 36% from 3. This season, Eric Gordon's averaging 15 points, only shooting 32% from 3 and 37% from the field. Now, I think we can all attain that to Eric Gordon having a little bit of rhythm issues, considering he has been injured for most of the season, but now that he is getting a little bit healthier and he's coming off this All-Star break with a little bit more rest, hopefully in this second half of the year, Eric Gordon can pick it up, and even if he just averages the same 15 points on better field goal percentages, especially from 3, which we have seen in the past, that's what the Houston Rockets will need. If he can stay healthy, he will be a huge part to this team. At number 6, Kendrick Nunn. The Miami Heat have been one of the biggest surprises in this 2019-2020 NBA season, but recently they've hit a rough patch. They haven't been winning games and they've been losing to teams like the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Atlanta Hawks and the Minnesota Timberwolves, 3 of the worst teams in the NBA. Their losing seems to be another issue to Kendrick Nunn, considering that Nunn's actually been playing very well as of recently. In his past 3 games, he's dropped 24 on Minnesota and then 21 in Cleveland and 24 against Cleveland. But Kendrick Nunn also started this year hot. He was hitting his shots and he was in the race for Rookie of the Year before Ja Morant just went ham. But for Kendrick Nunn, he definitely hit a rookie wall. He was playing very sluggish after he had a little scare with his Achilles, and he wasn't able to pick it up just before the All-Star weekend. Then he got to the All-Star weekend, played in the Rookie Showcase game, and he actually played well, and since then he's played well. But Kendrick Nunn, if the Miami Heat want to advance into the playoffs and actually make some noise, Kendrick Nunn needs to improve. And he has done in the last 3 games, but he has to continue that for the rest of the season, considering that Kendrick Nunn was having a bit of a rough patch in the month of February. But now that February is about to be over and we're heading into March, we're going to see if Kendrick Nunn can maintain his form that he had at the start of the year, and hopefully he's going to be able to climb out of this rough patch that he was having, which I just attribute to hitting the rookie wall. Number 5, Andrew Wiggins. To many people, this is Andrew Wiggins' last chance. This is his final year in Golden State with nobody else on the team, basically just him. A Stephen Curry that's coming back from injury, Draymond Green's not really playing, they traded D'Angelo Russell for him, Klay Thompson's out for the year. This is Andrew Wiggins' time to make an impact for this team and on the NBA. But now that he's on Golden State with a better system and probably a better coach in Steve Kerr, it's going to be interesting to see how Wiggins can play after the All-Star break. He's finally going to have some chemistry with this Warriors team, and we're going to see if he can become better defensively and also if he can improve offensively as well. At 25 years old and on a new team, this second half of the year is huge for Andrew Wiggins. But if Andrew Wiggins has a very poor second half of the year and doesn't improve after this All-Star break, you could see him getting traded from the Golden State Warriors, and if they are unable to find a trade, it's going to be interesting to see how he plays for this team next season once their players get back. I hope that he can prove to many in the whole NBA that this second half of the year will be the way that he'll be able to play for the rest of his career. But it's going to be a very interesting time for the Golden State Warriors and for Andrew Wiggins in this second half of the year. At number 4, CJ McCollum. The Portland Trail Blazers have been a pretty disappointing team this season. They're a team that surprised many last season and knocked off Russell Westbrook and the Oklahoma City Thunder with Paul George, but this season they're not even in the playoff race. They're trying to sneak in and they have an injured Damian Lillard right now, allowing CJ McCollum to play a little bit better, and he's been able to take more shots, and that's why he's gone for 28, 41 and 27 in the last 3 games. With that said, CJ McCollum at 28 years old is reaching the prime of his career. Him and Dame are a dynamic duo, but CJ McCollum in my opinion needs to improve just a little bit, and he has been doing that since the All-Star break, but that's because Damian Lillard's been injured. I would like to see CJ McCollum play like he did in that 2016-17 season. That season he averaged 23 points, but his shooting percentages were extremely good. 48% from the field, 42% from 3, and 91% from the free throw line, on 18 field goal attempts per game. This season, CJ McCollum's averaging 19 field goal attempts per game, but only averaging 21.9 points, but shooting 73% from the free throw line, which isn't great considering a few years ago he shot 91%. He's shooting 38% from 3 and 44% from the field, which obviously isn't bad numbers, but I believe if the Portland Trail Blazers want to actually make a push to make the playoffs, they're going to have to see an improvement in CJ McCollum, because we know what Dame's been doing this year. Damian Lillard's been killing it. CJ McCollum, I would like to see him average around 23 to 24 points, just the way he did in that 2016-17 season, and the way that he's looking after this All-Star break. If he can just maintain that form throughout the rest of the year, we could see the Portland Trail Blazers making the playoffs and actually doing some damage if they can click at the right time. Number 3, Kristaps Porzingis. Kristaps Porzingis isn't playing bad at all. He's actually averaging pretty good numbers: 18.5 points, 9 rebounds, 2 blocks, 41% from the field and 34% from 3. These numbers are good, but Kristaps Porzingis is a better player than good, and he's obviously coming off a major injury with the New York Knicks, but now that he's entering the second half of the year, he's had a chance to mesh with his team in the Dallas Mavericks and Luka Doncic. The second half of the year, I can see Kristaps Porzingis becoming one of the best big men in the league, just the way he was before his injury. He's only 24 years old, and this is obviously his first year in Dallas, but now that we've hit the second half of the year, after the All-Star break, I can see Kristaps Porzingis averaging about 25 points and 10 rebounds per game, and that's a lot better than 18.5 points and 9 rebounds that he's currently averaging. This is not a knock on Kristaps Porzingis, I just believe he has a lot of potential, and I think he needs to do that for the Dallas Mavericks to become serious contenders in the future, and I think he will do that. I think he'll go from an 18.5 point player to probably a 23 point per game player in the second half of the year. Number 2, Kyle Kuzma. Kyle Kuzma is a very interesting player because obviously the Lakers are a lot better this season than they were last season. There's a lot of other players on this team that are a lot older, more mature, and they're looking to make an impact later on in this year's NBA playoffs, and normally that's when the veteran guys step up and you need a little bit more playoff experience, and Kyle Kuzma doesn't have that. But the thing about Kyle Kuzma is that third option for the Los Angeles Lakers is wide open. He has the potential just to grab that third option and make it his. He could easily be the third option on the Lakers if he could just improve on his outside shot, just the way he did in his rookie year. He was a 36% three-point shooter in his rookie year on 5.6 3-point attempts per game. This season he's only 31% on 4.4 3-point attempts per game. But obviously Kyle Kuzma, he's had to adjust with this team, but I would love to see him improve now that all the outside noise is out. He knows that he can't get traded, he knows that he has to play his role, and he knows what his role is. I believe that Kyle Kuzma will and should have a better second half of this season, because obviously last season he was a much better player than what he's playing at currently. And if he can just bring his averages up from 12.5 points per game to maybe 16 points per game, he could be that third option that the Lakers need heading into the playoffs. But currently I could say that's more Markieff Morris's role because Kyle Kuzma just hasn't been able to produce. And number 1, Mike Conley. Mike Conley has had a shocking year. He went from averaging 21 points last season, 1.3 steals, 6.4 assists, 3.4 rebounds, shooting 43% from the field and 36% from 3, to this season on a new team averaging 13.5 points, 4.1 assists, 0.6 steals, which he's always been known as a great defensive player, shooting 39% from the field and 35% from 3. The Utah Jazz, if they want to make a push in this year's NBA playoffs, need Mike Conley to play the way that he played in Memphis. That's the reason they got him, but it just hasn't worked out. And I do believe that in the second half of the year, he has the potential to turn it around. They've now transformed their lineup, and they're putting Joe Ingles on the bench, putting Royce O'Neal in the starting lineup, and just testing the waters to see if that can make an impact for Mike Conley to actually play better. As of now, he just needs to improve badly for this Jazz team to make any impact in this year's NBA playoffs. Let me know if there's any other players that you believe could bounce back after the All-Star break, or players that you would like to see bounce back after this year's All-Star break. It's been your boy Nick Smith. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please be sure to leave a like to show your support. Subscribe if you're new for NBA content every single week. I am out. Peace.